Target has responded to the fierce backlash it has received for their Pride collection, which included, quote unquote, tucking bathing suits and compression tops, as well as designs that were made by an open satanist. Now is the time to double down on our divestment from Target. Also, Chip and Joanna, where are you at on this? This episode of Relatable is brought to you by our friends at Good Ranchers. Go to goodranchers.com. Use code Allie at checkout. That's goodranchers.com, code Allie. Hey guys, welcome to Relatable. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's had a wonderful week. If you haven't listened to Tuesday and Wednesday's interviews, go back and listen to those. I was actually in Orlando very quickly yesterday for NRB. Got to sit on a panel with Dennis Prager and some other great people and talk about some things that really matter in regards to the First Amendment, but also just sharing the gospel no matter what policies are put in place, because Jesus has given us both the right and the responsibility to do so, as we read in Matthew 28. I think we talked about that on Monday. If not, it was sometime last week. All right, before we get into this stuff, there's a couple things I want to say. One, we've got a merch sale going on. If you go to alliemerch.com, we've got a Memorial Day sale. Use code REMEMBER for 20% off. We've got lots of amazing merch, t-shirts, sweatshirts, bags. Let's see, I've got one bit of merch right here that you can see if you're watching on YouTube. My tote, my politics matter because policies matter because people matter tote that I like to use all the time. But we've got lots of awesome stuff and even some new stuff that's coming down the pipeline. So make sure you check that out, alliemerch.com, code REMEMBER. Also, if you love this show, please do us a favor and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you listen. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please do so. We have this beautiful set that if you listen, I'm a listener too. I listen to my podcast. I never watch them, but you should still subscribe just to see our beautiful, wonderful set that is fairly new. And you guys have gotten used to. It was a big change, but you've gotten used to it. Okay, before we get into this Target stuff, I do just want to talk about like the biggest obvious news, which is that Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, officially announced his candidacy for the president of the United States. So he is running for the Republican nomination. He is now running against Donald Trump. He's running against Tim Scott, who recently announced. He's running against Nikki Haley, who announced a few weeks ago, and Vivek Ramaswamy. So let me just tell you what I think about it. I hate that we're already, first of all, even getting into election politics. I mean, I know it's time. It's time to do that. So I understand. First of all, I just feel like it's gone by so quickly. I can't believe it's been this long since 2016. I feel like 2016 just happened. I definitely feel like 2020 just happened. And the fact that we are gearing up for the 2024 election, it's just wild. It's just wild to me. And I hate that we're already getting into these fights and these battles, especially when it comes to who's going to be the Republican nominee. Now, really, the two people that are running for the nomination are Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. That's not to say that we can necessarily count anyone else out yet, but just looking at the numbers, looking at the polling, and just kind of feeling the sense of where people are. Nikki Haley probably is not going to get the nomination. Tim Scott seems like a great guy. Don't think he's going to get the nomination. I don't think Vivek will either. I don't think that these guys are real contenders. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't vote for them in the primary if that's where your convictions lie. I just don't think they really have a chance of getting the Republican nomination. Really, it's between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Here's my assessment, and I know it's going to make people mad. I said yesterday, and look, I'm not trying to be mean by saying this, but it's true. Like, even in my own DMs and in the comments that I get, like, I think that Trump primary voters. I say this as someone who has had Donald Trump on my show. I'm very thankful for a lot of the policies that he put forth. I voted for him in 2016 and 2020, but it seems like the die-hard Trump supporters, like the Trump primary voters, are some of the maddest people on the internet at all times. Like, if you say anything that is even slightly negative about Donald Trump, or say, well, I think that this other nominee could do a good job, or if you just look at the facts of people's records, like, you will get very, very angry, and not just, hey, I disagree with you, but like some of the angriest and meanest messages and comments I've ever received are from this crowd. Like I might just share like a Ron DeSantis post and I'll get all of these like very angry messages from like the diehard Trump supporters. And so that's very confusing to me. It also makes me sad because I'm like, we're already in that. We're already doing that again. It's already 2016 again. Like, just take a chill pill, okay? Like, we all want what's better for the country, especially those of us who are all planning to vote for the Republican nominee in 2024. We all want what's best for the country. We all want more secure borders. We all want to drain the proverbial swamp. We all want better foreign policy. We all want the economy to be improved. We all want safer streets. We all want to save babies' lives, right? Like, we all think and know men are men and women are women. We want to protect women's rights and women's privacy and spaces and all of these things. Like, we are on the same page. And so if you find yourself getting so aggravated when someone just disagrees with you on your stance on Trump, your support of Trump, then it might not actually be Trump's policies or his ideas or the prospect of improving America that you're really for. It might actually be that you are in this kind of cult of personality and you have attached yourself to Trump. And I just want to remind you that no matter who the politician is, like, they will fail us. They will disappoint us. There is no perfect politician. There is no one who is going to ride in on a white horse and single-handedly save the Western world or the United States of America. It's just not going to happen. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your hope in a person. That's fruitless. And that's actually, I think, what's fostering like a lot of your anger. I understand getting angry and having arguments over the issues themselves, but these are finite, fallible, imperfect people who at the end of the day don't know us. Like, they don't know you, okay? They are people that we are putting in place to serve the interests and the well-being of the people who voted for them, of the American people, okay? And that's all they are. We need to see them as what they are. Don't elevate them too high. I think that fosters a lot of unnecessary anger, okay? So like, we might be voting for different people in the primary, but like, we're on the same team generally. And I just hate how nasty it is already getting. So if you're going to be like that in my DMs, like, we might just have to have a little block party. Okay, we might just have to block you. You might just have to be kicked off, not follow me on Instagram for a little while here, because I just think that the contention right now is too much. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to tell you what I think about what's going on. And my opinions about things, because that's obviously why you listen to this podcast. Again, as someone who supported Donald Trump and supported a lot of his policies and is thankful for that, was very thankful that he took the time to come on my show. Here's my honest assessment. I think that Joe Biden is extremely beatable as a candidate. I think he will be the Democrat nominee. He's running again. I think that he is extremely beatable. He's just not strong. I think the only person, one of the only people that can lose to Joe Biden in a general election is Donald Trump. I think he is one of the only people that could lose to Joe Biden. And you know why? Because Joe Biden's tactic last time. Now, I know we can talk about election integrity and all of that, but Joe Biden's tactic last time was to basically sit in his basement and not say anything, and to just be quiet and to allow Donald Trump to run his mouth. And that strategy worked out pretty well for him. That strategy will not work out well against anyone else. It wouldn't work well against a Nikki Haley or a Tim Scott. It's certainly not going to work well against a Ron DeSantis. First of all, because he's like twice their age almost. And so it's just going to look bad. If you've got a young person with stamina who is out there talking to the people, gathering crowds, advocating for the things that matter in a way that projects strength and fortitude, that's going to look really good and really favorable against an old man who has to take his first nap at 9 a.m. So that alone is going to present a kind of dichotomy to the American people that I think even just like the independent average voter is going to go toward the side of strength and fortitude and perseverance and stamina rather than the guy that can't even string sentences together. But if you've got someone who is in his basement yet seems subdued and quiet and compassionate and empathetic and a unifier, which is absolutely crazy that anyone would think that at this point. I understand, but some people do. And then you've got this guy over here who, unfortunately, a lot of people think says, absolutely ridiculous things and is a bully and is sometimes equally incoherent and only cares about himself and loyalty to him and not necessarily the moral social issues that you and I do, then people will go towards Joe Biden. The candidate to represent sanity best, the candidate to best represent stability, the candidate to best represent normalcy, a sort of real resurgence of American strength and excellence. The person who comes in and says, I'm going to make things work well again in the United States, that person, I think, in the general election is the one that's going to win. At this point, just because of age, because of history, because of persona, personality, just like his inability, I think, to stay on track and to really care about the things that matter, I do not think that Trump can win the general election. I'm not saying that's right. Obviously, I think it would be a wrong choice to pick Biden. Policy-wise, it's a no-brainer. I'm just telling you that that's what I think. And that is, it's as close to a fact as possible without me being able to objectively prove it. I do not think that Donald Trump can win a general election against Joe Biden. I almost know that Ron DeSantis could. And I think that there are other Republican candidates that could too. I just don't think the other Republican candidates have a shot at the primary. So you might not like that. You might not agree with it. I'm telling you it's true. And by the way, even if you're like the only reason that Donald Trump lost in the last election was because of all of the funny business that went on, like even if that's your position, has that been fixed? Have any of those broken mechanisms or corrupt systems been rectified for 2024? And if not, then what makes you think that it's going to be different this time? If you think that Donald Trump poses like such a unique threat to the globalist powers that be, that they are going to stop him no matter what, then what's going to change in 2024? Of course, I also just think that he is not popular enough. He's not popular enough to win the general election. I understand he has a lot of supporters. They're very passionate. I get that. But when it comes to a general election, I'm just telling you how it is. All right. Let's get into the Target stuff in just a second. Let me tell you about our first sponsor for the day, and that is Carly Jean Los Angeles. All right. I'm wearing my Carly Jean Los Angeles today. I'm wearing my shirt. I'm usually wearing like head to toe Carly Jean Los Angeles because I love their stuff so much. It fits me in every stage of life, whether I'm pregnant, whether I'm postpartum, whether I'm neither one of those things. It's just so comfortable and well made. Also, their basics line, they have a basics line, a non-basics line, but their basics line is all made in the US, which is amazing. That's really hard to find. It's really difficult to find affordable clothes that are made in the US, and they have that. I love Carly Jean. I love her family. They're a Christian family. They believe in the values that you and I do. So as we talk about all of the insanity and the literal satanic stuff that is being pushed by places like Target, we need to make sure that we're spending our money on clothing at a place that actually aligns with our values. Carly Jean Los Angeles is one of those places. If you go to carlyjeanlosangeles.com, you can use promo code Allie Basics for 25% off their basics line. 25% off their basics line with code Allie Basics. carlyjeanlosangeles.com, code Allie Basics. carlyjeanlosangeles.com, code Allie Basics. All right, let's talk about Target. Okay, so you've already heard probably some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, but there have been some developments, and I want to give as much background as possible for those of you who haven't been following this Target saga. I won't back all the way up because I've already talked about a lot of it in a previous episode, so go back and listen to, I think, an episode that we did last week about what Target is selling, their new Pride Month, and just how absolutely depraved and awful it is when it comes to compression tops for girls who want to present themselves as boys and push their breasts down, when it comes to bathing suits meant for tucking so boys can tuck their genitalia to look more female. It is so absolutely demonic and disgusting. But there's been more that's come out about the kind of design partnerships that Target has with some people who are developing some of the products that they're selling, and a couple products that are actually blatantly demonic and satanic, glorifying hell and glorifying Satan and all of that. And then now, as we will get into, Target has actually had to issue a statement because of the backlash to all of this. So as part of the 2023 Pride Collection, Target created a partnership with someone named Eric Carnell, creator of Eprolin, an LGBTQ company based in London. Now, I'll put up some products that are being sold at Target. A fanny pack that says "We belong everywhere" with the trans flag, "Too queer for here" with a little UFO, and then a sweatshirt that we talked about last week that says "Cure transphobia, not trans people." And again, just a little bit of a question of what that means. It seems like a little bit of a veiled threat. I will say, I mean, they're cute designs. I can totally see why they're popular. Just based on the aesthetic alone, I understand why Target partnered with this person. Very cute. This person is obviously very artistic, very talented. I see why the designs themselves are popular. This kind of retro look is very in right now. As I've always said, I think it's very strange, though, the use of baby colors, the use of pastels in these products. Not that adults can't wear pastels, but the juxtaposition of the baby blues and the baby pinks, I think, is made to look very infant-like. And if you go back to the history, as we've talked about many times, of the trans flag that was created by a man who identified as a woman, or still does, named Monica Helm, and the literature that this man wrote actually glorifying pedophilia, glorifying the idea of being trapped in a little 6-year-old girl's body. That's who created the trans flag, this baby blue and baby pink, these baby colors. I think is very strange. So that in and of itself, any glorification of the trans flag, any inclusion of the trans flag, knowing its history and that it just represents this absolutely depraved and deceptive idea that you can actually switch your genders, that in and of itself is radical. But it doesn't just stop there. There were people who decided to dig into the designer of these shirts, and they saw that this person is extremely violent in their rhetoric, and also, I don't know, by the way, if this is male or a female, so I just don't know. You guys know I use biological pronouns, but the designs are very, very violent, not the ones being sold by Target, but the other designs on this person's website. And then there are also posts where this person says that they are a Satanist and that they love Satan. So let me go through some of those designs. So here's one that says "Burn down the system, CIS tem," and it's a little lighter. And of course, what that means, cis, is you are the gender that you were born as. It's another totally nonsensical term that was created by very depraved and confused people in the 1960s and 70s. And then there's one that's a guillotine. So you know what a guillotine is? Chops off your head. It says "homophobe headrest." All right. And then there's a design that kind of everyone had been circulating on social media. It comes in a t-shirt, and it also comes in a little like sticker or a pin. And it says "Satan respects pronouns." And here's the caption. Here's the caption under this particular design that this person put on Instagram. One of my favorite and most popular designs, and the one that gave Eprolin its proper footing and direction. Coming up with this phrase really helped make Prelin what it is today. Satan loves you and respects who you are. You're important and valuable in this world, and you deserve to treat yourself with love and respect. LGBT plus people are so often referred to as being a product of Satan or going against God's will, so fine. We'll hang with Satan instead. Satanists don't actually believe in Satan. He is merely used as a symbol of passion, pride, and liberty. He means to you what you need him to mean. So for me, Satan is hope, compassion, equality, and love. So naturally, Satan respects pronouns. He loves all LGBT plus people. I went with a variation of Baphomet, which is long been a satanic symbol, satanic creature. For centuries for this design, a deity who himself is a mixture of genders, beings, ideas, and existences. They reject binary stereotypes and expectations. Perfect, which is actually true. This symbol of Satan, this depiction of Satan that has existed for a long time is gender bending. That is not a coincidence. There's not a coincidence that there is a crossover here, a very significant crossover between the demonic, between the satanic, and transgenderism. Because this statement, even though this person doesn't realize it, is absolutely true. Satan does respect pronouns in the sense that, yes, he would absolutely call someone they. Actually, like we can read the interaction between the demon-possessed person that was wandering among the tombstones in Jesus in the book of Mark in particular, and this person was possessed by a legion of demons, and so thousands and thousands of demons. And because he was indwelled by all of these demons, he is referred to as they. The demons are referred to as they, and so we know that this idea of confusion, of chaos, is something that Satan would absolutely advocate for. He is the author of confusion. He loves chaos. He loves anarchy. He loves for you to reject the body that God gave you because he hates you. I know this person doesn't actually believe in the real Satan and so thinks that Satan represents love. That's actually the greatest trick that the devil can play on you, is convincing you that he doesn't really exist. He doesn't really care whether you really believe that he exists. He doesn't really care if you really believe in hell. He doesn't really care how you depict him, as long as you are worshiping someone other than the Creator. As long as you are accomplishing his purposes, he doesn't really care what your belief system is. And this person has stated something that is actually very theologically true, that Satan would absolutely call someone by the pronouns that do not correspond with their biology, because Satan loves confusion. He hates the image of God. He hates the gender binary because God created it, and in the beginning, God called it very good. So he loves the gender confusion. He loves the perversion and the depravity and the sickness and the sorrow and the sadness and the body mutilation that comes from all of it. So this person is at least extremely intuitive in understanding what side they're on. And Target has made the conscious decision to partner with a person that is an open Satanist and who is pushing these kinds of demonic and destructive ideas. It's not like they didn't know. There are also a lot of depictions of death in this person's artwork. There is one particular picture of like a bigger skeleton passing on a flame in the colors of a transgender flag to a smaller skeleton. It says the fires of today's trans adults will light the way for tomorrow's. And so, again, talking about children maiming their bodies, denying the body the identity that God gave them. Other stickers, heteronormativity is a plague, time's up for the transphobes. So there's a lot of threats here. And then there's another sticker that has a weapon on it, like one of those. It has like a handle, almost like a nunchuck, and the chain, and then the ball at the end with the spikes, which is obviously deadly. And then on it says, "We bash back." And so there are a lot of threats of violence, which is very unfortunately normal for this activist community. We've seen this a lot, especially over the past year or so. And a lot of it has to just do with the inherent mental instability that's going on here. A lot of it has to do with godlessness. A lot of it has to do with following Satan. Of course, he hates you. He hates everyone around you. He loves murder. He loves destruction. He loves this division. And so, of course, he is going to encourage his followers, the people that follow him and adhere to him. Of course, he's going to encourage them to be violent and to be murderous, both unfortunately against themselves. The suicide rates among people who identify as trans, show that, but then also violent towards other people. Now, Target has responded to the backlash here because this was just all like a little too far for people. You can imagine, okay, rainbows, whatever. Some people were just, like Christians like me, of course, we're for traditional marriage. We're against all of that, all of the sexual revolution, anything besides sex between one man and one woman in the context of marriage, we are against. But it's like, okay, you got a few rainbows in the back. No one really cares. You can easily explain it to your child by explaining the Noahic covenant if you want to. But this, the tucking, the chest binding, the transgender flag onesies, the partnering with an open Satanist, it was too much for people. And it's caused massive backlash and massive anger on social media. And on the heels of the Bud Light boycott, I think a lot of conservatives, a lot of Christians, a lot of people just anti this stuff have said, ooh, we can actually make a difference because Bud Light is actually still suffering. They're still suffering from the Bud Light boycott after they hoisted up Dylan Mulvaney as some kind of hero. And so I think that there is there's some motivation. There's some momentum, I should say, from conservatives to be like, yeah, we're going to do the same thing to Target. So I'll get into Target's response in just a second. Let me tell you about our next sponsor for the day. That is Constitution Wealth. So we're talking about how we spend our money. We want to spend our money as wisely as possible. That includes where we make our investments. Now, women, if you're like me in your family, you are not the person that is in charge of the investments that you make. You talk with your husband about those things, but at the end of the day, he's probably the one that makes those decisions. So you should have a conversation with him about who you're investing with. Like, what company are you using to invest your money? A lot of these major companies, they have the same values that Target does, and they're not aligning with us when it comes to our mission. So why not use a Christian conservative investment company, Constitution Wealth? They're great people. They're Christians. They're fighting for the things that you and I are, and they will partner with you in ensuring that your investments are going to places that are advocating for the things that align with the things that you and I really believe in. So whoever's making the financial decisions in your household, it's time to get in touch with Constitution Wealth, and they will do like a consultation with you just so you can sit down with them and learn more about what they're about. So talk to your husband about this, set up a consultation, see if it's right for you. Go to constitutionwealth.com/Allie, schedule a free consultation, constitutionwealth.com/Allie. Okay, so as I said, Target, after all of this backlash, so many people talking about this on social media, so many people saying that they're going to boycott. As I said, I started boycotting a year ago. A lot of you joined me then. A lot of people just now are being like, wow, this is really bad, and they're boycotting now. Some of you also started boycotting like 10 years ago when they said that they were going to allow men in women's bathrooms. And so I certainly wasn't the first one to do it. But now I think this is like the year that people are saying, whoa, when in the world did this happen? You're pushing bodily mutilation on our kids. No, thank you. I can't even walk into a Target without explaining all of this stuff to my kids. So this is when it's gone too far. The Satan stuff, too far. So on Wednesday, last week, Target released a statement, or yesterday, alleging that the reason it was pulling products and making adjustments to their Pride collection plans was due to threats they've received and a concern for team member safety. And so they started apparently in Southern stores either taking down their Pride segments or moving it to the back or diminishing it. They're pulling some of these products, and they're not going to sell it anymore because of the backlash. And they're claiming there have been violent threats against their employees, which obviously is wrong. You shouldn't be threatening their employees if that's something that's happening. But the thing is, I don't know that that's happening. This is something that Target's saying. They're presenting themselves as victims. The media is very good at this. Target is very good at this. Those hospitals that were performing the bodily mutilation surgeries in the name of gender affirmation on children, they claim to be the victims when really they are the ones victimizing. So Target is really kind of doing the same thing here. So I don't know if the allegation is true that anyone has called in and threatened people. If that is true, obviously it's wrong. These employees, these managers don't have any say in the products that are being sold or even where they're set up. So there's really no point. It's totally irrational and immoral to threaten or make the staff there feel uncomfortable. It's the corporation that is making these decisions. It's Target corporate. And they held an emergency call last Friday telling some managers and district senior directors to tamp down the Pride sections immediately. They're just too much. An insider reported that they were given 36 hours to move the entire Pride section from the front of the store to a section that was a third the size in the back of the store. And here's what Target said in a statement. For more than a decade, Target has offered an assortment of products aimed at celebrating Pride Month. Since introducing this year's collection, we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety. So not actual safety, but sense of safety. Again, not sure if that's true, but that's what they're alleging. And well-being while at work. Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior. Our focus now is on moving forward with our continuing commitment to the LGBTQIA plus community and standing with them as we celebrate Pride Month and throughout the year. So obviously there's no apology there. They're not like sad or sorry that they partnered with an open Satanist. They don't wish that they hadn't gone so far. Like, they're not apologizing for encouraging body mutilation of kids or hiding genitalia. It's not like they're repentant here or anything like that. Apparently, they are also re-looking at this partnership with the open Satanist and this person's products. So this company issued a statement on their Instagram saying, going forward, I do not know if Target will begin selling the 3 items I designed for them again, or if the unjust backlash is not worth the risk of supporting the LGBT plus community. I hope that none of Target's retail employees are the victims of further threats and that none of them come to any harm. As for my Target Pride collection, I will hopefully know more in the next few days. Until then, I cannot update you with information I do not have. If you wish to support me, you can do so through my website or Etsy, blah, 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 blah. Gavin Newsom also criticized Target. My thought is, because of all this, Target is going to fold. They're going to redouble down. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why in a second. But Gavin Newsom said this: CEO of Target, Brian Cornell, selling out the LGBTQ plus community to extremists is a real profile in courage. Sarcasm, obviously. This isn't just a couple stores in the South. There's a systemic attack on the gay community happening across the country. Wake up, America. This doesn't stop here. You're Black, you're Asian, you're Jewish, you're a woman, you're next. Yeah, Target's going to take down their Asian Pride collection that they have every year. They were going to stop selling the yarmulkes that they've been putting front and center. Yeah, that's what's happening. This is so silly. I'm sorry that people didn't like that you were selling tucking bathing suits. That means that all of a sudden people are going to start not liking Asians. We don't want to talk about who commits crimes against Asians, Gavin Newsom, in your state, in San Francisco. You want to look at the racial crime data on that? It's not the right-wingers who are mad about pushing transgenderism on kids. I can tell you that much. This is so ridiculously silly. By the way, I wonder what his future political plans are. So someone posted a picture of the former Pride segment at a Target and moved it to the back. And apparently this is happening in places like South Carolina, Arkansas, and Georgia. I saw someone say it also happened at their Target in Tennessee. And so I guess it is making a difference. It is making a difference. And don't take this, though, as an apology. Like, don't think that you've won. This is not a victory, conservatives. It's not even close to a victory. Do not think because they've made these changes and they've issued a statement and they've heard your voices that that's enough and that you can move on and you can go back to Target. No. You need to make them feel it. You need to ensure that your money does not go to Target. I'm asking at least for the month of June. Now, some people will scoff at that and say, wow, you really can't give up Target. Look, I know a lot of you depend on Target, okay? So I'm trying to be realistic with those of you who do depend on Target for your necessities. I promise you that you can go somewhere else for the month of June. I promise you. There are, I got a list from y'all of various places that you can shop at besides Target. And the reason why I haven't said them yet, or why I'm not going to say all of them on this podcast, is because I just didn't have time to research them. Some of the things that were suggested, some of the stores that were suggested as alternatives to Target are actually like probably just as woke themselves. So I didn't think that was good. So I need to take time to research them. But look, I would say the biggest thing is try to shop small, try to shop secondhand, Try to go directly to the website of the product that you typically buy from Target. Go to your local grocer, go to grocery stores. And look, I'm not saying that it's going to be easy to let go of Target. I'm not saying that. It takes more effort, but consider, and look, I understand too, that we are kind of addicted to the one-stop shop. We want to be able to go somewhere to get our groceries, to get our home decor, and to get our baby items and all of that. I totally understand that. It is very convenient. That's like a beautiful development of the 21st century, but it's not worth it. It's not worth supporting this company. I'm not saying that you have to boycott every single company that doesn't align with all of your values, although that would be great. I don't. There are still some places that I go sometimes that I know don't align with my values. Target was just too much for me. I was spending too much money there. They're too opposed to the things that I believe in. So try to shop directly at places. Try to shop small. I do recommend Public Square, the Public SQ app. It's spelled Public SQ, but you say Public Square, and just put in your location, and all of these places will come up close to you that align with your values. Go ahead and go to their Instagram page. They are constantly advertising different companies, whether it's for baby items, whether it's for women's clothing. I even saw for like toilet paper and things like that. There are alternatives. There's also an account, Vote With Your Dollar Mama, I think is the name of the account. She is constantly posting different alternatives to these woke companies. And so there are resources out there that I would recommend that you go to. But ladies, women, girls, moms, it is possible for the month of June, at the very least, to boycott Target. Let's make them feel it. Bud Light is still feeling the boycott. Like, that's actually more than I thought would happen with the Bud Light boycott. I honestly thought that things would kind of spring back quickly and that they wouldn't really care because they care more about their shareholders who are all progressive than they do their customer base. But apparently Bud Light is really struggling after hoisting up Dylan Mulvaney. Target, I think, is really going to struggle too. Now, we know who the shareholders in Target are. Glenn talked about that this morning on his show. I was on Glenn's this morning. It's BlackRock. It's State Street. It's Vanguard. It's all of these huge woke global companies that push ESG, that push the left-wing agenda in the United States. Our corporations are owned by them. So Target, a lot of these other corporations, they care more about their shareholders than they do their actual customers. But eventually something's got to give. You can't not have your customer base. And look, we women, we moms, we suburban moms, and especially even like, I think Christian conservative moms, like, we are the target customer base for Target. We are hoisting them up. We are the ones who buy Magnolia. We are the ones who go there to buy the Honest diapers. We are the ones who go there for the maternity items. Like, we do make or break Target. And so use that power. Vote with your dollar, at least for the month of June, women. Give up Target. I think you can do it for a lot longer than that. It's a little less convenient, but it's worth it. I realized how much I did not need when I stopped going to Target. All those Target runs where you go in and you say that you need one thing and then you end up spending $500 that you didn't need to spend. It's going to be good for your budget. Let's save some money this summer, ladies. Let's save some money. That's a good thing, right? I mean, this is like a win-win scenario. For the month of June, women, stop shopping at Target. Then after that, you can reassess. I bet that you can keep going. I bet that you can say, okay, one more week after that. Before you know it, you'll be like me. It'll be a year and you don't even miss it. I have not walked into a Target. I have not ordered anything from Target. Again, I'm certainly not perfect in this arena by any means. This was just the one for me. And you can do it too. Make it hurt financially for them. There's more in this. Let me pause and tell you about our next sponsor before I get into it, because I have a specific call to action for you as well. Let me tell you about My Patriot Supply. So we don't know what's going to happen. Things are as crazy as ever. There's a lot of instability in the world. And we just don't know what's going to happen with our food supply. We're seeing things all over the world with the supply chain and trying to undermine farmers in different parts of Europe. We don't know how that's going to affect us. Hopefully, you'll never need an emergency food supply kit. But if you do need it, it's really good to have it. It's always better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to your food supply. That's why we have emergency food kits from My Patriot Supply. They're sitting up in our pantry and they're good for 30 years and it's a 3-month supply. So if anything should ever happen, we need to tap into that emergency food supply. We've got it right there. Get one food supply kit for every member of your family. It is well worth that investment. Plus, if you order today, you'll save $200 on each kit that you need. You'll save $200 by going to preparewithallie.com. Fast and free shipping. Preparewithallie.com. Preparewithallie.com. All right, so I just wanted to say one more thing because about the whole satanic thing, I forgot to mention this, that they also have a satanic drag queen shirt that I saw online as recently as a couple days ago. Apparently, they've changed the title of the shirt now, but we'll put up a picture. Pride Adult Drag Queen Bible Girl 666 short sleeve t-shirt in gray. It's a very kind of confusing shirt. It's supposed to look like the cover of a magazine, and then it's got this man, I guess, identifying as a woman on the front. It says, Bible Girl Quits Drag. This is just another example of the hatred of Christianity, of mocking Christianity, something that you can't do and get away with it when it comes to Islam or when it comes to Judaism, at least mainstream. You can't do that without getting a lot of pushback from civil rights organizations, human rights organizations, but you can do that. You can do that for Christianity. We're also seeing that with the LA Dodgers. They're inviting and awarding the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. That is a drag group that is mocking Catholicism. There was this awful, awful video going around of these drag queens performing, and one of them was dressed up to look like Jesus, and he was hanging on a cross, okay? And then there were these other men dressed as women dancing in like very sexual ways. I will not show it. I could not retweet it. I saw a lot of people retweeting it. I understand why. Because you want proof that this is really happening to show people what's really, I just cannot do it. Really, the first thing that comes to mind is forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. They don't fully know what they do. Their minds have been given over. That doesn't mean they won't be held responsible for it, because we also read in scripture that God will not be mocked. Whatever one sows, he also reaps. There will be consequences for this. One day God will do away with evil forever. We read that in Psalm 37. Yes, the LA Dodgers is, they're platforming these people. They're rewarding these people. They initially decided to disinvite them from their Pride Night, but now they've invited them back. They've apologized for originally disinviting them. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence that make a mockery of Christianity in all of their performances. This is celebrated. This is fine. We shouldn't worry about this. If we freak out about it, if we're offended by it, we make a big deal. I would love to see the reaction if a group like this made fun of, I don't know, Muhammad in the same way. What would happen? I think that we probably all know. All right. So this kind of stuff, it's a trend right now. It's being pushed by Target, which is patronized largely by Christian women, which is, again, why we should turn our backs on them completely. And why I think that Chip and Joanna Gaines need to be talking about it. They need to make a statement. And I might not say that. I might not say that if they didn't also say things in the past about political issues or about culture war issues. I mean, they did the quote unquote uncomfortable conversations with a black man after the George Floyd thing. They issued their statements about that. They have something to say about alleged racism and white supremacy and all of that. But when it comes to this, I haven't seen them make a statement at all. Again, we are talking about transing kids, okay? We're not just talking about a few rainbows. We're not just talking about love is love. Like we're not talking about that. We're talking about something really evil and demonic and promoting someone who promotes Satanism. Okay? And if you're a Christian who very overtly, very prominently partners with the entity Target that is promoting this kind of demonic stuff, you don't feel any burden to say anything. I mean, maybe they can't quit their contract. Maybe they can't get out of it. There's always things going on behind the scenes that we don't know. I totally understand that. I do. And I'm not saying, I can't judge their heart. I'm not judging the state of their soul, but I think that they should absolutely be standing up and saying something. I personally think that it would be an amazing business decision, not just to make a statement, but also to pull their stuff from Target and to say, no, I would personally go. I would go to Waco and I would buy their stuff. If they stood strong on this and said, you know what? No, this is too far. We can't support something like this. We care about children. We care about family. And we know that our good God, who is the ruler of the heavens and the earth, made them male and female. And we can only affirm that. And so we cannot partner with an entity now that is promoting like this stuff that is this dark and this depraved. I would respect that so much. I don't think that that's going to happen, as many of you have also pointed out to me. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that you should reach out to Chip and Joanna. I think you should raise a very respectful ruckus about this. I think you should go to Magnolia's website. I think you should contact them. And I think that you should email them. I think that you should call them, their customer service line, in a very respectful, a very calm way. And look, you can appeal to their Christian faith. You can't do that with Target. You can't do that with everyone because not everyone espouses Christian values, but they very publicly do. And so again, we're talking about the well-being of children here. We're talking about really, really deep, dark stuff. It should be easy. It should be really easy for the Christian to stand up against this and to use their power and their influence to stand up for what is right and what is true. We should be encouraging them to do that. I mean, honestly, think about it. If Target were selling things that people saw as racist, or they partnered with someone who, it turns out, when you went to their Instagram, they were an open white supremacist. They were a Nazi. And everyone was bombarding Chip and Joanna with emails and comments and calls saying, you need to say something about this. You need to stand up against racism. You need to stand up for justice. You really think that they would remain silent on that? I highly doubt it. But they're remaining silent thus far. I, again, don't think that every public figure needs to comment on every culture war issue or every political thing or every news story. I don't think that they're responsible to do that. I don't think they have to. I don't think they should, because most of the time they don't even know what they're talking about. So it's better to remain quiet. But we're talking about Genesis 1 issue here. We're talking about kids' bodies, their minds. We're talking about Satan-authored chaos that is being pushed by the entity that you are openly partnering with and promoting. Like, that's a bigger deal, right? So I think that you should raise a very respectful ruckus to Magnolia and say, what's the deal? What's the deal with this partnership? Are they going to say anything? I would really encourage you to do that, and I would really encourage them. To say something about that. All right. That's all I've got on the rest of the Target stuff. Again, just want to encourage you that now is not the time to back down. Now is the time to double down on that. Now is the time to double down and to make sure that your voice is heard. And you're going to be gaslit. You're going to be accused of being a part of some kind of like violent extremist group because of your beliefs here. That's par for the course, okay? That's normal. These are the people that are butchering children, both in the womb and then out of the womb when they claim that they're gender confused, okay? Like, these are people who are openly following Satan. Of course they're going to hate you. Of course they are. Of course they're going to call you names. Of course they're going to lie about you. They have to. They follow the father of lies. He doesn't tell the truth. His followers don't know how to tell the truth. All they do is breathe in and out lies. I'm not talking about everyone who is on the left. I'm not talking about everyone who is social justice oriented. I'm not talking about everyone who identifies as gay or who thinks that they're the opposite sex. I'm not talking about everyone there. I'm talking about this activist group, the people pushing this stuff. I'm talking about Target, the people glorifying this and then lying about those who oppose it. Yes. The entire thing, though, whether you are complicit in the name of compassion or whether you are active in it, like the entire thing is satanic. The entire thing is evil. And like this should be really, really simple for us to stand up against. Guys, the trials are only going to get worse. The heat is only going to get hotter. It's only going to become more difficult and require more sacrifice to be a Christian. Like this is a very small, it's like that meme that you see. It's like, oh God, why do you give me your hardest tests? And then Jesus comes back and he's like, I literally give you my easiest test. Just don't go to Target for 30 days. You can do it. You can do it. There are bigger sacrifices that we will have to make. There are bigger sacrifices that you've made, by the way. So I know that you can do this. I know that my audience can do this. One positive thing, just speaking of like the amazing things that you guys do when we rally together, we really make a positive difference. I was sent this morning some pictures from the pregnancy center that I posted about the other day. And just boxes upon boxes. And I will make sure that these pictures go up on YouTube of diapers, of baby items, of shampoo, of formula, of bottles, of cribs, of carriers, of wipes, of Jesus storybook Bibles, all kinds of things that were donated from you guys to this pregnancy center. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of lives that are going to be positively affected because of your generosity. All I did was post the link. They sent me the link. They said, Allie, like we're in desperate need of all of these items. Can you please post our registry link so people can donate things? And so I did. I posted it. I posted it on Twitter. I posted it on Instagram once. And you guys are just so eager to help. And this is what Christians do every day, by the way. Like Christians quietly, without any recognition, and in the midst of all of the lies that are told about Christianity, this is what Christians do. They show up for people. They show up for the most vulnerable. They're ambassadors of what is beautiful and good and lovely and excellent and true, going out of their way to ensure that people are taken care of, not just the people who are donating, but also the people that show up at these pregnancy centers for no thanks, for virtually no money, sometimes literally no money, just helping moms and dads in crisis and their babies. And these like physical resources really, really matter. They can make or break someone's decision, a woman's decision to keep her child. And so just thank you for your generosity. This is not the first time this has happened. There have been several times where pregnancy centers have reached out to me and said, we created this registry. Will you please post it so people can donate? And then you have. So thank you so much for stepping up. And I've told this story before, but in the past, we've done this for a pregnancy center. And actually the pregnancy center staff had a conversation with the Amazon driver. And I know Amazon's not great either, but this is such a redemptive way to use a company like Amazon is, helping moms in need through it. And this is too, the Amazon driver showed up and was like, what in the world? Like, I have so many boxes, so many deliveries for this pregnancy center. What is this? And they had a conversation with him at this pregnancy center and shared the gospel. And right there, Christ saved him right there in the parking lot because of your generosity, because you clicked a button and you donated diapers. God had already orchestrated, like before you had even done that this particular guy whose heart that he had probably already been working on would show up that day. Those staff members would be there at the pregnancy center. He ordained this conversation and he saved him. Wow. That is what God is doing at all times. So we see like this evil that's going on in the world. I get it. It's bad. It's dark. It's depraved. And we can get really discouraged. But God's work doesn't always make headlines. He is constantly working things together for the good of those who love him and that have been called according to his purpose. He is always bringing glory to himself, and we always have a reason to rejoice. And by the way, one day, sickness, sadness, sorrow will be no more. He will do away with evil forever. That is our hope. Jesus will rule in perfect and total peace. Until then, what do? the next right thing in faith with excellence and for the glory of God. So thanks for doing the next right thing when it came to this pregnancy center too. All right, let me tell you about our last sponsor for the day, then we'll get out of here. That is Birch Gold Group. So as we talked about in our last ad, things are unstable. That is certainly true about the economy. We just want to make sure that all of the savings that we have are secure, and we want to make sure that we are investing in hard assets that can withstand the volatility that we're seeing in our economy. And one really great way to do that is to own gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account with the help of Birch Gold. And if you're confused about that or you need more information, you'll get a free info kit on gold if you text Allie to 989-898. They'll send you that free info kit. You and your husband, you can learn more about it and you can figure out if this is right for you. But it's really something that you should consider in these crazy economic times. Text Allie to 989-898 to get your free info kit on gold. Allie to 989-898. All right, guys, that's all we've got time for today. Just a reminder, Monday is a holiday. I hope y'all have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. My husband and I have some fun plans, but we will not have an episode on Monday at all. No replay or anything like that. So no relatable on Monday. I've got so much I still need to talk about. I wanted to respond to something that Jen Hatmaker said today. I'll probably have to do that on Tuesday or sometime next week. We've got a lot of good subjects coming down the pipeline that I'm excited to talk about with you guys. Just want to reiterate my thanks for you guys, the encouragement, the prayers from the Related Bells, and yes, the Related Bros out there. You guys just mean a whole lot to me, and I'm very thankful for you. I'm very thankful for this family, for this community, and how we lift each other up and share the arrows. So thank you so much for that. I see you. I see you sharing the arrows. I see your encouragement, and I'm very grateful for it. All right, we will see you guys back here next Tuesday.